how it feels. Fragile. Like it might crack or scatter if I speak too firmly about it. If you listen to the first tape, you know about the room. The little house at the edge of town. The one that wasn't there when I looked back. The one that felt older than it should have been. Quieter than anywhere has a right to be. This is the watcher in the dark. Some things follow quietly. Some things stay. Listen carefully. Everybody knows you're here. I thought that was where it ended. A strange place. A strange moment. Something my mind could file away under things that don't repeat. But something followed me home. It's not sinister. At least I don't think it is. It doesn't feel sharp or hungry or angry. It feels attentive. It started yesterday morning. I woke up feeling rested, which should have been my first morning, because I never wake up rested. The light through the curtains was wrong too. It was too still, as if the morning hadn't quite decided to move yet. When I reached for my glasses, my fingers brushed against something that shouldn't have been there. A piece of paper. Not ordinary paper. Thin, soft, almost velvety. The pages of an old book you're afraid to turn too quickly. It was folded into thirds, perfect thirds. There's no creases out of place. The kind of fold you make when you're not in a hurry, when time isn't pressing on you from behind. And it smelled like the room. Cool, dusty, cedar. And something else. Something faint and unfamiliar. A scent that made the skin at the back of my neck tighten just a little. Not fear, recognition. I unfolded it. Inside was a single sentence, written in that same pale handwriting I'd seen on the note at the window in the house. Not ink exactly, more like pressure, as if the words had been pressed into the page and were remembering themselves. It said, "You took something with you." First, I assumed it meant the paper, that somehow I'd carried it back without noticing. But this note was new. It's clean, unworn. It's nothing like the brittle scrap from the house. I told myself I must have written it, half awake, some leftover dream bleeding into the morning. I folded it back up, slid it into my coat pocket, and went about my day. But it didn't stay where I put it. Instead, I put it into the inside pocket of my coat. I remember sliding the fabric flat over it, feeling its edges through the lining. Sometime later, standing in line at the bakery, I felt it again. Only this time it was in my back pocket. Folded the same way. Perfect thirds. Like it had never moved at all. I remember standing there. The smell of warm bread in the air. People chatting softly behind me. And feeling that strange, calm certainty settle in my chest. Not panic. Not confusion. Just acceptance. As if the paper knew where it wanted to be better than I did. I didn't take it out. Didn't look. I was suddenly very aware that if I acknowledged it too directly, something about the moment might collapse. Like looking straight at a reflection that only exists in your peripheral vision. So I paid, took my change, and walked up slowly. That's when I noticed the sound. It wasn't loud. It wasn't close. Just behind me. My steps, but not quite mine. Like an echo that hesitated. Like someone listening carefully before deciding to follow. When I stopped at the crossing, it stopped. When I slowed my breathing, it slowed too. I tested it. I changed my pace. Uneven, unnatural. Long step, short step, pause. 2 quick steps, stop. And every time it matched me. I turned around more than once, pretended to check my phone, stopped to tie a shoelace I didn't need to fix. Nothing was there, just pavement, just early morning air, just leaves whispering along the curb. And the strangest part, I wasn't afraid. The sound felt considerate, like it was keeping its distance on purpose, like it didn't want to startle me. For a moment, I even found myself adjusting my pace so it wouldn't lose me. That thought unsettled me more than the sound itself. There was another test I tried. I stopped in front of a shop window. One of those darkened ones that reflect the street better than they show what's inside. I stared at my own reflection, at the way my shoulders rose and fell, at the faint fog of my breath against the glass. And then I moved my head, just lightly, side to side. The reflection followed perfectly. Of course it did. But if I didn't just imagine it, and I don't think I did, I really don't think I did, there was a delay. Not enough to notice at first, just a suggestion, like the world hesitating, asking permission. I leaned closer to the glass, studied the space just behind my reflected shoulder. And for a moment, only a moment, the glass seemed deeper. Not like a surface, like a doorway pretending to be one. I stepped back. The delay vanished. I'm sure I didn't imagine it. I really don't think I imagined it. The street went flat again, ordinary, harmless. But the sound of footsteps returned immediately. Closer now, still polite, still careful. When I got home, I emptied my pockets. Keys, coins, receipts, and the note. Only now, it wasn't the same. A second line had appeared beneath the first. Same handwriting, but heavier, more certain. It said, "Don't worry. It needed the quiet too." The quiet too. The quiet too. I didn't notice the third line right away. That's the unsettling part. I'm certain I wasn't there when I first read the note again. I remember folding it, pressing it flat between my fingers, studying the ink. Later, sitting at my desk, I unfolded it once more. And there it was, written smaller than the others, almost tucked into the fibers of the paper itself. It said, "You left the door open." I don't know which door I meant. The house, the room, the moment, or me. Because as I read it, I realized something else. The room was quieter than it should have been. No hum of distant traffic, no ticking clock, no faint electrical buzz. Just presence. Not heavy, not pressing, attentive. Like someone standing very still, listening for your breathing to make sure you're comfortable. I sat with it for a long time, turning it over, tracing the folds, feeling its texture warm beneath my fingers, warm as if it hadn't been alone. An hour before I started recording tonight, I heard it again. Not footsteps, knocking, Not on the door, not on the wall. Inside the room. My room was so quiet I almost dismissed it. The sound meant only for someone already listening. I followed it slowly past the desk, past the bed, to the bookshelf, to the bottom shelf. There was a narrow gap between two books where there had been no space at all. Something was wedged there. I didn't rush this time. I already knew. The writing was clearer now, less hesitant, as if whatever was speaking had earned my shape. It said, "Don't be afraid. I'm only staying until you're rested. I don't feel threatened. I feel observed. Yes, but kindly. Like someone checking the time for me, like a hand hovering near a candle, making sure the flame doesn't gutter out." There was one more line, smaller, pressed deep into the page, as if whispered directly into the paper itself. "When you sleep tonight, leave the chair by the window." I don't know what that means. I don't have the same chair from the house, but I do have an old one. Wooden, worn smooth in places hands have rested for years. I've moved it now. It's by the window, facing inward. The chair doesn't belong there. I know how that sounds, but it feels familiar. Too familiar. When I touched the backrest, my hand paused, like it recognized the shape before my eyes did. The wood is smoother on one side, worn, as if someone always stood behind it, resting their hands there. Not sitting, watching. When I step away, I get the distinct impression that the chair is now occupied. Not physically, nothing so obvious, but the space around it feels fuller, balanced, as if something that had been waiting finally knows where to stand. The window glass cools, the scent deepens, and somewhere in the room, not knocking down, something settles, like a long coat being hung up carefully, like a present deciding to stay the night. If the footsteps return, if the knocking does, if the quiet grows heavier, I'll record tape 3. For now, I'm going to leave the microphone running just a little longer, in case someone or something decides to sit down or do something else.